I told you I could help you save time and money in the kitchen? That's exactly what I'm going to talk to you about today. The first tip I'd like to share with you is extending the life of your cottage cheese. It's a very simple tip. All you do is turn it upside down and store it in the fridge. What this does is it creates a vacuum in the container and slows the growth of the bacteria, extending the life of your cottage cheese. This will last for about 2 or 3 weeks past the expiration date. I actually purchased some myself that was within 2 days of the expiration date. When I learned about this tip, I did this. I turned it upside down, stored it in my fridge, and somehow it got shuffled to the back and forgotten about for about 3 weeks. So I was a little concerned about opening it, but it was perfectly fine. One extra tip I'd like to give you about this is when you do this, when you go to use it, give it a moment to settle before you open it, because if you don't, there's a very good chance that when you open it, it will splatter. So be careful with that. This will also work with sour cream, ricotta, and yogurt. So give that a try. The next tip I'd like to share with you, a lot of people don't realize that you can freeze butter. You can freeze cottage cheese and ricotta. You can also freeze shredded cheese. I like to buy my shredded cheese in bulk, and then I split it into gallon-sized Ziploc bags to store it in the freezer. Another tip I'd like to pass along for those of you who have families who like cheese, when they see a great big bag like this in the refrigerator, they tend to use a little more than they need to. So I like to break it down into even smaller bags when I put a portion of it in the refrigerator. That way it kind of slows them down a little bit. When butter goes on sale, especially during the holiday baking season, which I love to do that, I like to stock up on that. And for those of you who live in a cooler climate, I used to live in the state of Washington, and when the butter would go on sale, I would stock up and I would put it in an ice chest on my patio. I would have butter the whole season. So that helps a lot when you don't have a lot of freezer space. The next tip I'd like to share with you is extending the life of your lettuce. It will also help to crisp it up. So what you do is you trim away this brown part of the stem and peel away any of the extra leaves that are going to fall off, or brown leaves or whatever. And then you take it and you soak it in a warm bath. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, like, oh, that's gonna wilt, but I promise you it won't. What happens is it actually rejuvenates. It soaks in some of that water and rehydrates, and it helps to keep the lettuce longer, and it actually helps to crisp it as well. So what you do is you give it the warm bath for about 15 minutes, turn it over and let it drain out for about 10 minutes, and then you wrap it in a paper towel and store it in a plastic bag in the refrigerator. This will also work with red leaf, green leaf, and even celery. So trim away that brown, soak it, and store it. Next tip I have for you is save your trimmings from your vegetables. When you're chopping your head of cabbage and you're taking out that core, don't throw that away. Save that. Put it in a Ziploc freezer bag and save it. When you're trimming the ends off of your tomatoes, save those. When you're trimming your onions, save those, including the skin. Save all of that. Put those in the bag in the freezer. Just start accumulating that stuff. And once you have a full bag, make vegetable broth. It will not only save you from all that waste, you won't have to go to the store and buy canned. It'll taste better. It's going to have all the nutrients in it. Don't throw that stuff away. It's perfectly good. Freeze it, save it, make broth. You can use your broth to make soups and gravies and all kinds of things. And the last tip I have for you is save the drippings from your roast, from your chicken, from all of those things. You can can it You can put it in small containers and save it. If you have chopped up vegetables, especially onions mixed in with that broth, save it all. It makes great soups, gravies, all sorts of things. So hang on to that stuff. And one last tip, please remember to label everything, especially in the freezer. Otherwise, you may be eating mystery meals. I hope you've enjoyed these helpful tips, and I hope they save you time and money.